portion distortion. It is a real problem. And I want to tell you something. It may not be your fault. Here are the reasons why I want to talk about portion sizes. I want to give you some really cool tips, awesome kitchen hacks, and I want to talk about the psychology of your brain and tricking it into think that you're getting more than you're getting so you feel satisfied. I think that today we are just unaware of our physiological hunger cues. Like, when are we truly hungry versus when are we looking to fill a void? Are we eating out of boredom? Are we eating an emotion or not eating out of an emotion? Much of our connection to ourselves is just extremely broken in today's world. So I want to bring awareness and make it really easy to start being mindful around your portion sizes. It doesn't have to be hard. I want to make it easy. And the most important part is we have to make it feel right for you as an individual. So we're going to talk about food portion, how to control it, and why it's distorted in today's world. First thing is first. I don't know about you, but whenever I'm going to be eating a bowl of cereal, if I grab a bowl, I'm bringing you into my kitchen because I'm going to show you some traditional size bowls. These are evil, and let me explain to you why these are evil. I'm going to show you a serving size in this bowl versus a serving size in a reasonable bowl, okay? Here's my third a cup of oatmeal. If you pour it into this bowl, you don't even barely cover the bottom. You just don't. It's kind of discouraging. You're like, but I'm hungry and I really want a good satiating bowl of oatmeal. Here's the trick. If you take a reasonable bowl, and obviously oatmeal when it's cooked, it expands. So bear with me here for the sake of this video. It's gonna look smaller, but you get the idea when I show you. If you take a normal size bowl, that we should all have bowls like this, right? It just should be this way because it makes it so much more honest for you to have accountability without having to worry about it. So here's the deal. Here's this bowl, right? This doesn't look like much. When this cooks, it will be to the top of this. So you grab your spoon, you sit down, you add a little bit of nuts on this, maybe a little bit of flax powder, and you actually in your mind are like, yes, I'm getting a nice bowl of oatmeal. And so the objective here, the mission, the goal that I want you to set is when you're wondering what are portion sizes, check your servingware. If it's playing tricks on you, meaning even this smaller bowl still plays tricks on you. This is like a 4 to 5 cup bowl, right? We don't want to be serving ourselves that. We really don't need that unless you have something. There's time and a place for that, right? But the reality is most of us don't need to eat 4 to 5 cups of cereal ever. And it makes it hard on our brain when you're like, but I just want a bowl of cereal. Well, this is a bowl of cereal, but it's not a serving size of cereal or oatmeal. So the first hack is get some kitchenware that is gonna make your brain think, hey, I'm getting a nice big bowl of cereal. That is a way that you can trick yourself into feeling more satisfied. Because we are so disconnected from our hunger cues, because we're not in touch with what we really need half the time, this helps you mitigate some of eating of your emotions or just not being aware of what a portion is. The other thing that I want to show you are, these are my favorites. I've had these for years. Bing! Okay, what these are. I get excited about these because this is a big spoon. Hello, it's giant, right? It is amazing because it's a half a cup. So when you're serving yourself a half a cup of rice or quinoa or maybe some potatoes, you're like, I get a big old spoonful. So there's the psychological side where you actually feel like you're getting a nice serving size and you're getting a reasonable portion, not a large portion. Like other spoons, it's like a 2 to 3 cup serving, right? We don't need that much. So it's measured at a half a cup. By the way, I'm gonna put all the links to these little gadgets that are super inexpensive in my weekly email recap. So make sure to subscribe to my email using the hyperlink, either in my Instagram bio or on my YouTube channel, and we will make sure to send that to you every single Friday. But in this week, you really wanna make sure you're in because it's gonna be all of these amazing links. All right, the last thing, this little guy. We kind of have a love-hate relationship. And here's what I wanna say. This is a scale. And when you're first starting, I always recommend that you get a scale. And here's why. I do not want to create fuss in the kitchen. It doesn't need to be that complicated. But until we have to learn, just like when you're a child, when you're learning the alphabet, you have to A, B, C. You have to, you have to sound them out and practice them and use them in sentence and write in lowercase, write in uppercase. It's the same way with your food. We aren't taught in school about portion size and how that works. So in order to master it, you have to have a means of teaching yourself, like, what is a serving size of a potato? What is a serving size of, maybe some quinoa or nuts, for that example? Like, you can't eat very many nuts, because the reality is, before you know it, if you've had a cup of nuts, you have far exceeded probably what we should be eating in a day. So when you get a scale, what that does is it helps you gauge, like, okay, what is a serving? And here is the catch. Labels are not always accurate. So this is really important. If you're watching what you're eating and you're like, I don't see the scale moving, that is when we want to measure. We want to look at, hey, really, are we eating a serving size, or are we maybe not eating, or we're maybe eating too much, or is the label inaccurate? I've seen many labels say one serving is 6 crackers, and then in parentheses it says 120 grams or whatever it is. And I measure 6 crackers and I'm at 200 grams. I'm like, wait, right? And if you're measuring fat, or you're measuring carbs, or you're just trying to track or understand, you have to have an accurate way of doing that. And so the scale is really great when you're beginning, just to give you a frame of reference. Listen, I don't want you fussing in the kitchen and worrying. And if you're eating a healthy diet that's rich in vegetables and good proteins, and you're just being mindful, you'll normally be okay. But the reality is, we aren't mindful. I'm not singling you out. I am talking about our dishware, our bags of potato chips. When we go to a restaurant, way more food than we need. And I'm just as guilty as you. I've been there, right? Just last week, I started to measure again, because I was like, I'm being a little too crazy with food. And I was aware, because I've been doing it for years, but to reel me back in, I just started measuring. So instead of eating 120 grams of some really epic healthy cottage cheese, I was eating like 200 grams, right? And so I thought, wow, I thought I was good, but it was just a good way to kind of reel me back in for some accountability. And the same goes for you. Sometimes we just need to have that governor, that check, something that's going to say, okay, wait, I know I've been eating a little too much. And this can even fall into the category of things with fruit. So for example, let me see here, hold on a minute, bananas. This banana, it's a banana, it's no big deal. Now, there's different sizes of bananas. Some bananas are like this big. You might be consuming 50 grams of carbohydrates from a banana in conjunction with everything else. And while bananas are not inherently unhealthy, the reality is each of you, we all have a different weight that's going to work within certain calories. So if you're struggling, or if you want to get particular about it, you just need to make sure to be kind of having an idea. So even measuring a banana, right? This could be 100 grams, it could be 60 grams, we don't know. So just using the scale as a means of accountability is super, super, super helpful. I hope that after you leave this video, you are like, all right, I'm gonna jump into the kitchen, I'm gonna look at my measuring spoons, I'm gonna see what I'm doing, I'm gonna check my servingware, and just be thinking about it. I wanna hear about it. What are your serving dishes like? Were they unbelievable? How many cups could you fit in them? Were you maybe filling them and not even realizing that? Let's start a conversation around food portion. It's not a bad thing, it's a great thing, and it's a really easy way to reel in your health and to meet your goals. I'm here to support you. As always, it is my job, my mission, to bring you education that is easy, attainable, and I want you to leave this episode and instantly have something you can apply the moment you leave. As always, I look forward to being of excellent service to you, and I look forward to next week's episode.